Today on the show, we're speaking to Jenny. She's got a construction mental health advisory business. It's a one-man band at the moment. It's got some good potential for the future, but she needs to break through this small mindset, think bigger, start employing people so that she can have a commercially profitable enterprise. Strap yourselves in. Let's do it. People love that jingle. Hello, gang. Welcome back.
Pre-production chat going on live.
JB and I join you here on the business broadcast.
Yes, we do.
More of you listening than ever before.
We
So
had
thank you very
loads.
much.
We had a record last month, didn't we? Chuds was telling me.
Yeah, and Chuds was telling us. I don't know if he's on. Mic
He can
here.
be.
Yeah, if he can be.
He can be.
I was shocked to find out that still the audio listens are beating the video listens.
Yeah,
is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, for the first time since we started uploading on YouTube as well, the video over the year has genuinely had more views than the audio has had listens, just by like 5,000 here, 10,000 there. But last month,
just a little 5 or 10K.
January, the audio had nearly 60,000 listens, whereas the YouTube channel had about 50,000 views.
Right. So what does that teach us, Mr. Burt?
Well, the only realization that I think that can, or the only correlation we can come up with from that point in time, as you're getting fitter and better looking, your looks are actually distracting the audience. They come here for like knowledge and like, I've just got lost in his eyes. What's he talking about? EBITDA? I don't care. What does he look like under that shirt? Oh, I bet it's a right old unit. That's what I think. Let us know at home why you prefer to listen.
But the serious business lesson here is you do need to be on multiple platforms, don't you?
Yeah, because I remember when we first started, we were worried, or the conversation came up about would this cannibalise the existing audio audience, and it didn't, and it's just grown both. Hasn't it?
I think there might be a trend of more people listening to podcasts and not going to YouTube for it. So things like Spotify are becoming very... I know Spotify's big, but it's just everywhere right now, isn't it?
Are you doing video on Spotify now as well?
Not yet, but it's in conversation. We're figuring that out back end, yeah.
That we need to be doing that.
No,
Spotify's very big in Europe, isn't it? I always remember whenever I'm in Greece, they're like, Spotify's everywhere. All the restaurants run on Spotify.
Yeah, it's bigger than Apple in mainland Europe in terms of podcast listening.
Oh, there you go. Well, there's some actual facts.
The Apple listens is still more, though, on our analytics.
But only just, isn't it?
Yeah, by like 2,000 or 3,000 more.
Really? That's interesting. Yeah, because Apple skews older. So an older audience will listen to Apple podcasts and a younger audience goes
like
to
you
Spotify.
do this for a living.
I know, full of useful facts, isn't
If
I?
you need a podcast, you could
Go on,
reach
hard
out.
sell him down that camera there for
If you
me.
need a podcast, you can reach out to
mate.
James Burt on his Instagram.
Oh,
At James
let's
Burt
check.
Official.
Let's time check it. How far do we
If you
get
go
in?
to
3
James
minutes.
Burt Official and then just say, I need a podcast, Mr. Official. Can you help me?
3 minutes and 30 seconds we got to in this episode
How
before
many
you.
podcasts are you looking after now?
We do about 15 a week. 15 shows a week we do.
If you had some marketing money and you was in business, what businesses do you think, oh yeah, podcast baby? I know we spoke about this before, but it's good to read.
Anyone that needs content as a way of driving business development, it's an unbelievably good tool for opening doors. So we do a lot of recruitment stuff, and recruitment's quite a linear space. Like, hello, have you got a people requirement today? Yes or no? If yes, can we pitch for the work? If not, okay, I'll ring you back in 6 months. But actually being able to open that door, and we've had loads of clients who've done this where they can't get in with a certain company, but then they do a podcast, and then all of a sudden that power dynamic shifts entirely, and then all of a sudden you build up know, like, and trust with people. You're right over there, Chuds, blimey.
Well, I still massively think people are not using content marketing in their mix. Nowhere near enough. It is still like the biggest untapped opportunity in terms of getting the best leads, the best qualified leads. And we've always said...
You're getting businesses approaching you to buy them now, aren't you, off content?
Mate, well, there's two things I want to talk about just quickly, and I think it's worth mentioning this. I think content drives you the best qualified leads ever.
Yes.
And I know I always talk about Disney on this, but, Disney... getting people consuming content, buying the toys and going to Disney World, and they have predetermined best qualified customers. And I think that's the simplest way for anyone to understand the power of content marketing. You can understand if Disney bring out a new Frozen film, the on sales of that one film have been monumental, into the billions, yeah? Now, I think when you look at what we're doing, like you've got clients from being on this podcast for people that want podcasty stuff. I've got businesses on the back of this podcast. I've got employees wanting to come for interviews on the back of this podcast. I had 3 FDs in the last year reach out because they listen to the content podcast,
Really?
YouTube channel, that want to come and work for us. Salespeople. So there's I think one of the big wins on content is recruitment as well.
Yeah, you said that was one of the biggest wins, wasn't it? It's the quality of the people.
No one thinks about that when they're making content. And then I think, Chuds and Stevie's like our head of short form. The amount of short form content we are getting off the back of the long form content, I think is really powerful as well. And we've really massively grown on Instagram, which I know we've been just bring Chuds back in. But what we've done from taking long form, cut it up into short form. And we have got someone full time doing that, haven't we, Chuds?
Yes, good.
Yeah, but you do, I think, you got to go big, haven't you, or go home on it? And we've had results since we've had someone full time just doing short form.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main thing to remember though is that the quality of the content has to be good.
Yeah,
like you can't just go ham on short form content and get results. Like,
because some people are rubbish, aren't they?
Yeah, and not like obviously we're not the greatest of all time, but it's just we record 5 episodes a week, or every other week we record 5 episodes. And Stevie might get 3 to 5 clips out of a podcast. The goal isn't to get 50 clips. The goal is to get 3 really good
absolute
clips.
bangers, yeah.
So I think that's important to remember. Don't just film content so you can upload
the other
50 times on Instagram.
No, and one of the things when we first started doing this for video as well, like the trailers, when my agency was doing the trailers, it was like a half-day job for someone.
Yeah, we've stopped
and there
doing
was
that, haven't we?
B-roll and there was clips and all that. Just does not perform as well as him going, it's hard to buy a Rolex, isn't it? Do you remember that one that went over 1 million? I was like, why are we doing these trailers for half a day when they get across the board, trailers get the least amount of watch, with the exception of someone like a Diary of a CEO, which they become like infamous for that thing.
Well, if like Arnold Schwarzenegger's saying something and you throw a nice edit on it, then it looks exciting. Oh, I'll go and watch that podcast.
Yeah.
But you two talking about, I don't know, some random plumbing business. It's like, how exciting is that trailer going to be? Let's just put the content on straight away.
Well, that's what we've got to do today. We've got to make this as trailer worthy as possible. Construction, mental health.
Yeah. Now, I was just, as you was talking there, I was just thinking about a few. Yeah, I suppose it is probably better to get 3 or 4 segments out of a whole podcast than one trailer that, just probably blows your ego up.
Yeah. And I think you've got to, the other thing with content is read the data. Because we had clients who we still have clients, and like, I want a trailer, I want a trailer, I want a trailer. And I go into their feeds and I'm like, these trailers do not perform as well as clips. We would be better off
instead of trying to cut together a trailer, try and find a story that was in the podcast, or cut together something really interesting. Like spend that 10 hours that's going to take
do
to
another
edit
2 or
that
3
trailer
clips
in finding something really interesting. And if you haven't found anything really interesting, then sorry, you need to re-record the episode or make it better next time. Or don't just pull stuff out of the content just because you should upload something. Like, make sure it's decent.
Even when I do keynotes, Chad's came all the way to Birmingham with me last week, and I don't know, did you get a couple of clips out of that?
Yeah.
It's worth doing if.
But it changes over time as well, doesn't it? Because back in the day, that would have been the main sort of making of, the sort of the weekly vlog thing. You sent me a link the other day to like a vlog, episode 47 of your vlog back in the day, 7 years ago, when I came to interview you for the first time, where our bromance started. So that's the other thing as well. But don't judge your day one by someone else's year 10. Because you can look at like a Hormozy or the amount of content that you're pumping out now and look at the quality of it, and it's different on LinkedIn, it's different on Insta, but you've got 2 people on it full time.
It takes a long time, yeah. We were talking about Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina Carpenter has come out of nowhere, hasn't she?
I don't even really know who she is.
But Judd's went, no, I've seen videos of her 10 years ago, just starting out.
Yeah, I saw something go up on YouTube and it said uploaded 8 years ago. And I was like, what? And it was her doing the exact same thing. Well, I mean, obviously it was a bit different, but she was 18 instead of however old she is now. But I assumed that she was like brand new.
Plucked from obscurity, Universal Records put a bunch of money behind her.
I don't want to say Disney, but it was something like that. She was doing whatever TV shows.
Oh, she one of them ones, okay.
But obviously not as famous as she is now.
She was trying to win karaoke. I've done a bit of research because I love seeing these people come. She's done karaoke competitions to meet Taylor Swift, didn't do it.
Oh, really?
And then now she opened at the Eras Tour for Taylor Swift. I mean, what that girl is everywhere all of a sudden. It's once these media machines get behind certain individuals, bosh, What catchy song that, I'm like,
But it also takes.
please. I'm going to sound just like
Wow, that was lovely. Yeah, I'm sure PRS are going to be asking you for some money for that rendition of it. But that's the other great point to make here is how long it does take. Because you've been at this content game 10 years. I remember listening to Joe Wicks talking on the High Performance podcast. He'd been uploading since 2012. He's like, and if you go back and you look at my channel, there are still videos from 2012 that have got 70 views. And I was like, let me go and have a look. And he's absolutely right. He'd been at it for 10 years before he became, the nation's PE teacher. You got to be in it for
long term,
the long game. And like I say, as soon as you see the grassroots of something, you've got to go big or go home.
Well, that brings us neatly on to interesting facts quite the week.
Absolutely, doesn't it?
I've got one from Jimmy Carr.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. What him say this?
Interesting quote or fact. Interesting quote or fact. Interesting quote or fact. It's time for the interesting quote or fact of the week.
Come on then.
So Jimmy Carr said along the lines of most people. Oh dear!
Come on, this is going to be so good.
What did he say, Chad? Do you remember he says most
people are jealous of what you've got, but not jealous of how you got it.
There we go.
That's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Didn't we already say that on one before, though?
I think we did.
I think
he's recycling them, Chuz. If he doesn't get enough from his Instagram, he just recycles. That's what he
I've
does
got
now.
a great one from another comedian.
Here we go.
Come on then, Chuds.
Which has just reminded me.
Do you want your own jingle, Chuds? No, you don't like a jingle. Well,
This is Ricky Gervais, one of my favourites. It's better to create something that others criticise than to create nothing and criticise others.
Oh, that is good.
Can you give me that one more time?
Because he wasn't listening.
It's better to create something that others criticise than to create nothing and criticise others.
Oh yeah,
That is good,
That's
isn't
good.
it?
That is good.
I got sent a great one this week. I'm literally now, people just go, oh, here's one for you. I think people feel
so
like
you don't come up with them either.
Not well, normally I do, but this one got sent through. Oh, I think we should go and do this as a business as well. Have you ever seen paramotoring? You know when people have the parachute on and the big fan on their back?
No. Oh
Have
yeah,
you-
yeah. I saw that.
Like the huge fan thing. This is what these lot do up north.
Yeah, I shan't be doing.
Should we go and do it?
No.
Oh, we should go and do a podcast. I wonder if we could get like CB radios and we could do a podcast live in the air.
Right. Okay.
I tried to do one in a small
Not your
plane
greatest
once.
idea.
No, maybe not. Anyway, Northern Skies paramotoring. By the way, I definitely want to go and have a go. I think it would be brilliant. They sent me this one. So here's one for business broadcast. If you want something you've never had, you must do something you never did. And
Yeah,
they sent it
that's
to me as a photo with it underlined in a book.
Well, I've got two here. One from
He's got two.
Mr. Matt Holland. Fact: James Burt is official.
That's very good, Matt.
And then this one from Waymer Ron Cray. Waymer Ron Cray. If you don't go where you want to go, if you don't go where you want to go, when you do go, you'll find you've gone.
What? Read that one for me one more time, because that is so...
If you don't go when you want
Slow
to
it
go,
down and make it emotive to see if it
if
actually
you don't
lands.
go when you want to go, when you do go, you'll find you've gone. It's terrible. Can't have that one. I've got a better one.
Sounds like
From
something I tell to my
Mood
kid when he waits too long to go to the toilet. If you don't go, you're going to find that you've gone when you go.
Okay, from Move Ball Club, success is the other side of fear. Classic.
Lovely.
That is interesting facts of the week.
Oh, that was brilliant.
Please keep sending them in.
We've sent good ones as well.
Yeah.
I think it's how you read that one, though.
Is it? Maybe.
If you've gone where you go, where you go, where you've gone. You've gone where you go, and you go where you've gone. Knowledge.
Tell us about today's business, though,
Okie
JP.
dokie. Right, we're going to speak into lovely Jenny Armstrong today. She's from Construction Health and Wellbeing Limited. You can find them at www.constructionhealth.co.uk. They've been going 3 to 9 years. Estimated monthly revenue, 15,000 smackaroonies. Do you have team members? If so, how many? She said, we've got 5. They're all associates or they're outsourced services. We also ask people their biggest challenges. Challenge number 1, selling a very niche service to an industry that doesn't know it needs it. That is tricky. Challenge number 2, understanding what to prioritise or reinvesting in my business. And challenge number 3, balancing home life. I'm a single mum. I work every spare minute and I have a daughter. I have my daughter 100% of the time. Mum guilt is tough. That is a tough one, isn't it, that? Where do you want to be in 1 year's time? 2 new products that I've launched have steady income and handed over to a team member to deliver. What does a business look like when it's finished? Robust, evidence-based to demonstrate I've positively influenced the whole construction industry. That's a big aspiring goal, isn't it? Do you make the profit that you want to make? And if so, what is it? She says, we're making 6 to 8 grand a month. Overheads are low, but I work too hard, so I need to find more opportunity to work on the business. What do you spend your time? What do you spend your day-to-day time doing in the business? And she spends it consulting, marketing on LinkedIn, and networking. Then she's got a bunch of questions that she would like to ask to you as well.
Big difficult thing about these types of businesses, certainly people that watch our content, is the whole point is to build a business to sell. And that is the ultimate discipline. You're building a business to sell, even if you have no intention of selling it. And you got to look at your thing and think, well, who is going to be the person that's going to buy this? And if it isn't that, then it's a profitable job. And then you have to ask yourself, well, am I making enough income that's allowing me to swap my time for money that I can then take my income and invest it into super safe stocks and shares or into property?
So the whole paid for profitable job thing is okay as long as you've taken those profits and put them into something else that's making you money.
I think there'll be a high level, because there are people at high level CFOs and CTOs and CEOs and number 1s and 2s and 3s in companies that can still build some wealth. They haven't got the entrepreneurial dynamic risk-taking thing, but they've got great quality management skill set. And if they can hopscotch some of their income, 50% of it into investments, you can still become pretty wealthy and have a great life.
There's a famous story, isn't there, of the FedEx delivery guy who never earned more than $30,000, but he saved 50% of his earnings
and became a millionaire
and became a multimillionaire. He ended up, I think when he passed away, he didn't have any family. I'm sure he left $70 million because he just compounded it over time. I mean, it might just be a nice story.
Yeah. I think you can, if you can save or invest £10,000 a year into the S&P 500 or the FTSE 100, you will see compounding results of that.
I think that's a really good point, actually. This profitable job thing, because job gets a bit of a bad connotation, doesn't it, in certain entrepreneurial circles? Jump stands for just over broke. What a load of nonsense. I've got a mate of mine who has never earned less than £250,000 every year for the last 10 years. He's only in his mid-30s. And he's wealthy because he puts money to one side. He's not cut out for running his own thing.
No.
But what a lot of people do is they BS themselves that they have got a profitable job, but actually, after everything's paid, you're earning $2,000 a month. Would you go to work for 24 grand a year salary? No, you wouldn't. You'd command 60, 70, 80 grand. So why are you doing it for that sort of money for yourself?
Some of the happiest people I know are not business owners. Fact. Absolute fact. It is not for everyone.
No.
That's why people don't necessarily like our stuff, because we say it rather than, you can just go and buy a business.
Yeah.
And, buy it for £1 and watch your bank account just grow and grow and grow.
Get some rent to rent.
Bullshit. There is a lot of effort and energy and heartbreak that goes into building a business of size, stature, and profitability.
So maybe we'll get onto this with Jenny when she comes on then. So is one of your other pieces of advice, if the model is very niche, if it is profitable job, is there look to shift the model as well?
Chubbs and I actually made a YouTube video about this. It'll be out by the time it's come out. We made it last night because we keep on talking about this. It's funny that, that you brought this up, but we keep on talking about lots of people I come across have just okay business models, and slight tweaks turn them into amazing business models. And you think about, there's stories of this happening all the time. I've been listening to the Mars story.
Okay.
It's a fascinating story, of how that business started. And back when Mars started out, chocolate was very difficult to make and you needed huge amounts of equipment and no one knew how to do it. And the son of the original Mars guy fell out with his dad, moved to Europe for a year and didn't say who he was. His surname was Mars. Just went and got a job at Nestle and worked on the factory floor for a year.
Oh, really?
Just to learn everything. Then he moved to England and his first confectionery bar was the Mars bar in England and set it up in Slough.
Oh, wow.
Now, what was the problem? Play along, Chuds, if you want. What was the problem making chocolate in the 30s?
Couldn't get enough refined sugar.
No.
Oh.
Have a little think about this. What would be the problem in the 1920s?
There's something to do with the process of freezing it and selling it and like storing it or something.
Freezing it is close and storing it is the one. Now,
Good work, Chuds.
you think about this, right? So
He's got it all, isn't he?
you're
The
selling
looks,
ice
the
cream.
brains.
You're selling ice cream in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. No one had a home freezer. So you would buy it from your ice cream
You used to
van.
get it in blocks, didn't you?
Man, you would buy ice cream and have to eat it
Eat it there and
straight
then,
away.
yeah.
But then 60s, 70s, 80s, the fridge became a thing at home. But people didn't have air conditioning. People didn't have that stuff. So how did they solve the problem? Well, it was a French confectionery idea to coat the chocolate in sugar that could travel, a hardened sugar, which became Smarties and M&Ms and stuff like that. So that was a necessity. That was a necessity to move chocolate around because it could, melt, but it would stay in the hardened sugar casing like an M&M, like a Smartie, and you could, store it much easier. That's why we get the hard sugar coating on, because they used to have white gloves back in the day. And no one wanted to get melted chocolate on their in provincial France. No one wanted to get chocolate on their white gloves, these ladies and stuff. So that's why we came up with the sugar coating. And he took that, then moved from England back to America, and then went to Hershey's, who were the number one, and said, look at this. It's literally Steve Jobs style. Got a thing out of his pocket and opened up some chocolate covered sugar stuff like an M&M, rolled it on the floor to Hershey's and went, I've travelled with that for 7 days. It hasn't melted. Like true Steve Jobsy style, showing off, tell the story. Really? This is amazing. I mean, because no one had fridges and no one had temperature controlled vehicles, this was like a big deal.
Yeah,
a big
brilliant.
deal. And so they tweaked the model. That's what I'm trying to say, is everyone was doing okay with chocolate manufacturing. There was apparently 40,000 candy manufacturers in America. There's, a handful now, isn't there? Because they've all been, sort of conglomeratized. But what I was the whole thing there is he looked at the model and thought, we need to tweak it slightly. And it's these slight tweaks, if you go over history, where things can completely change for companies. Look at Amazon. They were selling books, doing okay. Amazon really exploded when they came up with AWS and started selling cloud-based servers and stuff like that, and selling advertising on their own platform. That's a much better business model than selling loads and loads of stuff on the internet for quite low margins, competing with Walmart, competing with others. But actually AWS and their advertising platform is where Amazon makes all its money. And they nearly went bust, and Jeff Bezos came up with this idea that just drove cash flow into their business, and the model was improved, and the business, as you know, is still here and one of the most valuable companies in the world.
What do you do when you're looking to tweak a model? If you've got something that comes, especially all these acquisitions, excuse me, that you're doing at the moment, and you're like, oh, that's good, but it's not great. Have you got like a little process that you...
But I think a lot of people, unfortunately, sadly,
just
want
go
to
for
give
good.
them a cuddle.
Yeah.
They just go, oh, I'm 65, I've just about got through. But the smarty pants go, this model isn't good enough. Steve Jobs, when he came back to Apple, just got rid of half of the product range. I think more than that, actually, because he looked at it and went, we're all things to all men. We're commoditized. We're generalist. Let's become specialist. Let's change the model. And we always say success leaves clues. That's very true. And if you really go through and look at successful businesses, they usually were peddling a okay business model, what most people do.
Yeah.
But then dissatisfaction has led people to go, no, we're not doing this anymore. I've had enough. And that's what makes an innovator.
Interesting. Well, maybe this is going to come up with Jenny, because she's already told me in the pre-chat chat she's worried that the model is too niche. Should we get her on?
Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University. Yeah, let's get her on.
Let's get her on. Jenny, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Hi, Jenny.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
We are both very well. Thank you for being on. So,
Whereabouts in the world are you, Jenny?
get ready for this.
Brentwood.
Brentwood, that's where I'm from.
I know, not too far. Yeah, I'm in Worley.
What school did you go to?
Oh, I was not from here originally, so on the coast of Essex in Harwich, so a long way away.
Well, usually people move out of Brentwood because they can't afford to live there, and you've moved in, so things must have gone well.
Yeah, definitely.
It is one of the most expensive towns to live in the country, let alone in Essex.
Yeah.
It's really pricey.
Is it the one that's got its own little Hollywood sign when you drive in? Or?
No.
That's Basildon.
Basildon, that's right. That one, every time I
That's
drive
cheap,
past
isn't
it,
it?
I laugh my head off.
No one from Brentwood would like to hear you.
Oh, sorry. I've crossed over borders there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay, fine, Brentwood. And you got bambinos. How old are they? I just saw in the
Yeah, I've got a little girl called Polly. She's 3. She's nearly 4.
nearly 4. Me too. I've got a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just starting to get your
Tough.
freedom back. Slowly.
Kinda, yeah. It's the stress of the mornings and what pink dress can she wear that spins as much as her friends. So that's what my challenges are every morning before 8 o'clock.
Yeah, well, bless you. And you're running a business as well. So in your own words, just tell us what the business is. I know JB touched on it, but let's go.
Yeah, so my background is nursing. I'm a nurse, and I kind of found myself in construction when the Olympic Park was being built for the 2012 Games. So I spent a lot of time just working in the industry, recognising that the industry perhaps didn't look after its people well enough. So a lot of it is around a little bit like health and safety. So people working with chemicals and noise, but then there's a big movement now around the mental health agenda. It's got one of the highest suicide rates than any other industry. So we now work with construction firms to implement strategies and systems to help them improve how they look after their people.
And is it easy to get customers, or does it fall into difficult?
No, it's the easiest thing to sell, really, because there's lots of things that are happening, like the health and safety executive, the regulators are pushing the agenda. I think just society generally talking about mental health is pushing it. Big clients are asking for this type of service. So it's easy to sell. I turn down a lot of work. And that's kind of where one of my big challenges is, because I've been guilty of saying yes to lots of things. What's the most profitable things I should be focusing on? And yeah, really, that my challenge is that it's still very, very niche, and there's not many people that understand construction, understand health and well-being, and can bring it together in a way to sell to construction companies and projects.
So can you give us like an avatar scenario of how you get a customer, what you charge them, and what the delivery is?
So most of my customers come on board through like a gap analysis process. So we'll go in, do an exercise, which is one of the things I've kind of productized over the last year or so. Do an exercise, work out where the gaps are, and then help them implement processes to improve it. Often we'll bring in third parties. So I use a lot of suppliers who I've trusted, who I've worked with. They give me a commission rate. And then naturally what happens is then they want continued services. So it goes into a consultancy model. When it's roughly about £800 a day for types of services that we would sell for consultancy. But then equally, if they're doing like health checks and using occupational health teams, that those prices can vary massively.
So if I'm a construction company, I go to you and then you interview all of my staff to make sure they're okay. And then you come from the outcome of that, you then prescribe whatever needs to happen next to make sure they're in the best possible light. Is that correct? Have I got that?
Yeah, and it's a lot about processes and procedures as well. So, talk about stress. Have they got ways to manage people with mental health issues, and how do they support people? But trying to focus more on the prevention. Let's not wait till people get sick. Let's do what we can to prevent them from getting that place in the first place. And with construction, there's a lot of challenges around the work that they're doing. They work in quite a high risk environment. So there's there's a huge gap that the industry hasn't really managed to get hold of, like they have perhaps with safety and like wearing hard hats. There's still a lot more work to do.
And who's the person paying? Is it the individual or the construction company?
The company, yeah, the companies.
And they never worry about the cost of that to their P&L. They're just happy to pay it.
Well, this is the challenge. So I would sell quite easily to tier one contractors because they would put budget aside, and often they need it to win new jobs. So they have to do something about it. I think they do care. They'd want to do the right thing, but they would have a lot more money to invest. But 80% of the industry are smaller contractors. So people that come onto your podcast, they wouldn't be the ones that necessarily would put a significant amount of money into this type of service. I'd love to be able to find something that would work for them, that's affordable, because that's going to have a bigger impact on the industry. But right now, those type of contractors would do it because their clients ask them to put something in place. But there is legal requirements for them to do some of this stuff. There's legislation, so they're often in breach of that.
I mean, I wouldn't bother with the 80%. I would just go to 20% and not waste your time, and unless they come to you directly, it's better to focus on where the willing customer is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been in my mind. It's hard to get the difference between something I'm really passionate about and wanting to help people with actually what's going to make money.
There's just no, small business owners that have companies sub 10 million, like they're working out how they're going to get their next VAT return paid, and how they're going to pay their next tax bill. Whilst this is all important, that's just not in their zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So JB, do you want to read out the challenges to us?
Yeah. So challenge number 1 is selling a very niche service to an industry that doesn't know that it needs it. Challenge 2 is understanding what to prioritise and reinvest in. And challenge 3 is balancing home life as a single mum, working every spare minute. So if we circle back to the first biggest challenge, selling very niche services to an industry that doesn't know that it needs it. But you mentioned there, Jenny, that they do know that they need it and they want it, and it's quite an easy sell. So what's the challenge here?
It's kind of coming back to that smaller proportion of the market. Like, how do I try and get those organisations to try and understand that there's more that can be done? So we've kind of touched on it a little bit. It's easy to sell to the bigger ones. I think that the niche thing for me, and if I've because I wrote these questions quite a while ago, is the people that I use to work with me to help deliver some of these services. They're all associates. I don't employ anyone directly. And because they're quite niche in their expertise as well, like the profit margins for what I can sell them back to my clients for, I don't make a huge amount of money. And I know the model for associates perhaps isn't in your recommendations, James, with trying to get more management teams in place. But is there an opportunity to use that type of model to make it profitable, or am I just always got to find a different kind of avenue to go down?
Well, I think I've always, and I did allude this at the beginning of the podcast, that you must always build a business to sell, even if you have no intention of selling it, because I like the discipline that puts on the business owner. You thinking about, have I got a profitable job here, or have I got a profitable business? Or the holy grail, is this a profitable investment? Does someone want to buy this so that they can take it to the next level and they're going to get a return on it? Most people are building profitable jobs. And if you can get into your mindset that you need to go through those, what I call the entrepreneur's pyramid, so from profitable job into profitable business, then into a profitable investment. And really what makes a profitable investment is a commercially profitable enterprise that works without Jenny in it. That's the key difference. So what does the management team look like? What does the staff that make the business happen look like, so that you can go away for 6 months and the thing continues to run? Once you achieve that, you've built an investment that is very valuable. So I have a business that's similar to this. It's called Into Action. I just bought it recently. I think we've got 22 staff fully employed, and we do training for Chewy, for Centre Parks, for I'm to Park Dean, Park Resources, Southeastern Railways, some massive companies, and we do all of their customer service training, their customer flow. It's a great business, and we've got Jet2 Holidays, another one. We are doing stuff for them all the time, but we just really focus on big customers. We know the smaller to medium-sized businesses wouldn't see the value in us. The bigger businesses do see value in us, and we want to go to those businesses that see that value. So we don't worry about the noise of the smaller business. So that gives us focus and alignment. And all the people are employed, and I could go and sell Into Action tomorrow, and it would be a commercially profitable enterprise that works without me in it.
That's why you bought it, wasn't it?
That's why I bought it. And it's getting that into your mind. Because at the moment, Jenny, if you wanted to sell this business, what have you got to sell?
Yeah, I've got a few products that are there, but I couldn't demonstrate how profitable they are, and without people in them. I have just got some innovation funding for some software, so I'm hoping this is going to be a product that would be much more sellable in the future. But I'm a nurse, I'm not a software developer, so I'm learning a lot about that process and not trying to put all my eggs in that basket at the moment.
But it's the team that makes a business valuable, the management. And over time, if you really want to scale up and have time to spend with your daughter and not have mum guilt, you must employ people, which if that freaks you out and that's something that you don't want to do, then you must try and get as much income out of the business and invest it into something so that you can have over time some passive income from your investments so that you can spend time with your daughter.
Yeah, and I absolutely want to grow it in that way. I definitely do. It's just finding those people and
Well, they're out there. There's 70 million people that live in the United Kingdom. There's plenty of great people. But what people have a problem with, Jenny, and is that means you might be paying people before you're paying yourself for a period of time, and people have a real problem with that. Yeah. It's definitely a challenge when you're on your own. I mean, that's what I did. Everyone was earning money before me. I mean, it still feels like that sometimes now at times. And that is the most successful entrepreneurs. Like, that is a success leads clue thing that happens. People are putting payroll on credit cards. I'm not telling people to go and do this, but it is scary how often you hear those stories that repeat, like all the dragons, not paying themselves for a year but
chase that invoice on the 28th of the month because you need it to pay the cash flow.
And that can really, and that's why it is the path of the less traveled, isn't it? Because most people, no, so I'm earning 70 grand a year out of my business. You want me to employ someone and now start earning 30 grand a year to pay someone else? But actually, the compound effect of doing that after a year might mean you've actually started to build profitable job into business and then into an investment.
I know you mentioned, Jenny, that this is quite a niche, but within that, is there sort of niches within niches within niches that the clients ask for more and more often? And whether it be because the tier one contractors want or need to do it, or because they have to do it for, HSE regulations or whatever it may be, is there a thing that you could hyper specialize in and then, you could grow a small team around that to start with? Because I know that you mentioned that the challenge with the associates is that they're all on, they would command a big, if they're 800 quid a day, they're commanding a big 6-figure salary. But is there like specialisms you get asked for more often than not that you could start building your team in that micro niche?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The mental health agenda and kind of the workplace factors that sit behind that. So yeah, absolutely. There are definitely different elements within it.
And is there a sort of, you could build a team that do you still do delivery, or are you out of delivery of the actual stuff that you do now?
I probably do 1 day a week of actually delivering stuff myself, and the rest is outsourced to others. So
again, just in terms of keeping more of the revenue for yourself, could you outsource the back end, the organisation, the admin, everything else
Yeah.
apart from that, so that you are literally on delivery mode.
But also,
Yeah.
JB, I just want to say this: is there, that's the model you're running at the moment, but is there a tweak to the model? Is there something where you can go to all of these construction companies, the smaller companies? Look, I'm running a seminar. It's £500 a head per day, and you'll get a CPD certificate at the end that says that you'll put team, and you can get 30, 40 people a month onto
nice.
those. And that can give you some regular cash flow that allows you to then employ people, so you're not delivering that. This is what we're trying to say here, I think. You're looking at the model. Is this what everyone else is doing? But what are the tweaks that could turn it into your AWS of Amazon? Does that make sense?
Online training course that they have to give to their teams before they walk on site. Because the thing that you mentioned, and this is prevalent and rife in the construction industry, there's a legal requirement to do a lot of this stuff, but people wing it until they get their fingers burnt by HSE, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they'll do that till the end of time.
Yeah.
And training is a big part of it. That's what I find myself doing a lot of. And then we've got a course that we produced last year. So we've got things that are ready to go. It's just finding the right approach to sell them. And I suppose I've got lots of little things that I do and trying to focus on the things that I know that are going to be more profitable.
Is it JB and I? Probably 9 months ago, we had someone that had a green agenda seminar business, didn't they? And they would get people to their seminars, and it was all banks, wasn't it?
Yes,
£2,500 a ticket, and the banks sent their sort of head of ecos or whatever it is,
corporate social responsibility team, the CSR team, wasn't it?
And I remember us being both going, that's a very good business model, because actually getting decision makers to go to seminars like what I do. It's quite hard, getting business owners to sell. But if business owners or banks or accountants or solicitors know that their teams need to do CPD so that they stay qualified, and he was making some serious
couple
money.
of million quid, wasn't it?
Yeah, from his seminars and stuff.
He was running one a year, wasn't he?
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that was a good model.
Yes.
He tweaked the model.
Yeah.
And me and him are like being in this seminar game for nearly 20 years in some shape, way or form, and was like
blood, sweat and tears to fill a room up.
No one is doing this in our, because we're running just an okay business model.
Yeah.
And there are a few unicorns in our okay business model that make money, but he had a model that was so much stronger, that was making great money. And that's what I'm sort of trying to allude to.
I'll take a listen at that one and find out.
But that's why, if you can come up with seminars that they have to go to, and then you go to these, big construction companies, look, you can send 5 people, it's $5,000.
Yeah.
These are the speakers, these are things, they will get a certificate that their continuing professional development has been done. Maybe you do a couple of those seminars a year and you bag yourself an extra couple of $100,000, and then that becomes something really good, and then very easy to sell people on to other seminars and stuff or other training.
Yeah, think a bit bigger than what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any other
is that the challenge, Jenny? Is it a not thinking big enough challenge that you think you've got?
I don't know. I do think that sometimes, because I think there's definitely benefit me focusing on construction, because there's nobody else really doing what I'm doing in this space, and it's still a massive part of there's a lot of construction companies that work in the industry. So I do think that, but then I also think that I target my focus on like health and safety teams and people like that, but I don't think about the business owners of these large companies and how I can sell to them. It's more down into perhaps the people.
But I don't think
really
it is
to
those,
sell
by
to.
the way. But I think those health and safety people, like a big construction company, you might want to send 30 of their,
senior site managers.
Yeah. That's who I'm thinking.
Yeah. No, I haven't even thought about seminars, but I've got so much content that I could easily fill, a week's worth of seminars on that.
That's a great idea that you've come up with there. You're just so talented, aren't you? But also, Jenny, because
it's not really. It's just doing 300 of these bloody podcasts. You pick up little bits and bobs, don't you? Along the way.
But also with the construction space as well, they will do what they have to do. And it's almost like the health and safety equivalent of greenwashing, and not to sort of cast shade on the sector, but they will do what's best for the business. If they have to do it, they will go and do
that's
it.
why he done so well on that, because these banks or these
to tick a box.
financial institutions had to do their B Corps, whatever
That's
it was.
right, yeah.
They have to do it. But accountants have to do CPD, and doctors, solicitors, they have to do CPD to keep pilots have to continually go on top-up training, don't they?
Yeah.
And financial institutions have that. And I'm sure this is the case here. And you can come up with a product that's one to many rather than one to one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or one to a few.
I love that idea.
Getting 500 people in the room all paying £1,000. Bloody hell, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, happy days.
And that's what he was doing more than that, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, one event a year, which was doing him £2.5 million, I think it was, wasn't it, if I remember rightly? Have you got any questions, Jenny? Because I know you sent me through some stuff on email yesterday. Have those questions been covered off, or is there anything else in there that you think?
One more little question. So I mentioned that I use like suppliers. So I might use a company that will send someone to go and do like health checks on site. And I get really about 10% commission if I refer those organisations on. And I don't know if there's a way of having better partnerships with organisations like that. I mean, long term, would love to buy a business that was doing that so I could bring it in-house. But in the short term, it's 10% commission sometimes just isn't worth my while.
For example, what would be the thing that you...
So I would, if a company has, wants to do some kind of wellbeing initiative around prostate cancer for prostate cancer awareness, I'll provide a company that will go in and do PSA testing, which is the blood test to check their prostate cancer risk. So that then they would charge me, they'd give me about 150 quid to go in and do that. And it's good for me because it helps me kind of give a better service to my clients. But I'm always dictated to by their commission rates, not the other way around. And I don't know if I work stronger with some of these partners that I might be able to get a better return on.
So how much do they charge to go in and do the prostate cancer?
About £1,300 for a day, and do about 30 people.
I mean, if you can get enough work, I would try and buy a prostate cancer check-in business or set one up, wouldn't you?
It's not that hard to do, actually. A lot of these services you can do.
Well, you've answered your own question then, isn't it? Just do it.
Especially if you're a nurse, surely you know someone who could do the blood test. Can't you get a phlebotomist to go in for a day for a couple of £100, and then you can keep all the margin.
Yeah. No, there is a lot of kind of small kind of health professionals out there that would love to do that type of work. I just haven't really taken it on board and just always outsourced it.
That's another thing.
That would wind me right up. If you can just go and get whatever he said, that
phlebotomist, so it pulls your bloods.
Yeah. So and that costs you a couple of £100 a day, and then you've got another couple of £100, and you could have helped yourself to £800 by doing it yourself rather than £150. That's very annoying. Why you're not doing it is beyond me.
Yeah, it's like
especially as you're a qualified nurse, so you must know loads of people.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of tests aren't necessarily the best ones because the laboratory costs are quite high. So the companies that I use, they get a better rate because they will put thousands and thousands of people through that service. So if I was to go direct to the labs and have those bloods analysed, it would cost me a lot more.
Well, get busy enough so that it doesn't cost you a lot more.
Yeah.
Get some Google ads going, get some Meta ads going, get more customers, buy a company.
Yeah.
You could also then, with your network, you could actually productize the services that you could bring in. So, why don't you do this around, breast cancer awareness month or sun care awareness month? Because there's all these awareness months that the media have for sort of raising awareness of different stuff. You could actually sort of almost productize that and then bring that in as a service so that you can go and sell that concept. So rather than waiting and being reactive for them to go, hey, can we do a PSA test? Push, you can go, well, why don't we do a sun care awareness test? Like you can go to them on the front foot rather than responding on the back foot.
Yeah.
And what I love about those things is it turns it into we need to do this because the staff will start demanding it. The staff will say, we used to have a prostate cancer test every year. Is that not happening anymore? Because that will annoy the staff. And so actually that stuff people will really start caring about. People go, oh, not another course. It's just how human beings work, don't they? But if it's something to do with their personal health, they're getting tested on something. People quite like that, don't they?
Yeah, and there's so many different variations of that, like diabetes, cancer risk. There's so many different testing type things that you could do. So it's quite an easy model to build, and some of them are more expensive than others with the cost of the equipment and the lab costs, but some aren't that expensive.
Well, I think you've got a lot to do. Sounds
I
good.
have. Don't know when to fit it in, but I'll find the time.
Employ people. That's how you fit it in.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the step I've got to take.
Get yourself a PA, that can help you doing the school runs and picking up your shopping and, going to the dry cleaners, booking holidays, doing your ironing. Just get all of that stuff gone.
Yes, no, I'm lucky that I have done that. I have got someone that helps me with a lot of things at home, which is good.
Yeah, get them full
always
time.
more.
Get them full time. Get them living in. I know this, but that will give you all of these extra hours to start making you and your daughter a lot more money.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Get a PA, like seriously, and not just your mate or a friend, a really good experienced PA that just does stuff for you, so that you get all these hours back, and it really does give you a great return on investment. That what people do is don't get a part-time mum in, get someone full-time that can work till 7 o'clock at night. Get someone that can drive you so you can make calls while you're driving along. All of those things honestly makes such a huge difference in terms of what that does in terms of giving you more time back. I employed my first PA at 17. Huge difference. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a scary step in some ways because it's just handing it all over. But I know it's not that scary once you actually go through with it.
I know it is. I think you'll learn to love it. I have never logged in, booked a holiday, booked a flight ever.
Yeah.
Since I was a teenager.
That's why he never goes on holiday.
No, honestly, if I,
you can hear the reticence in people's voice. They go, no, I need to do it.
Yeah, I can hear it in yours.
Once you've done it, you will never look back. Once you take that first step to employ your first proper PAYE national insurance person, you will never go back to working for yourself, ever. It's like there's secret unlock, and once you peer behind the door, you're like, oh, that's what's behind it.
You'll be wasting 30 hours a week doing just menial tasks. If you could turn that into money-making activities, if every time you're doing a £12 an hour task, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And you can just be going, I could pay someone this so that I can go and get another £1,000 contract.
Yeah, I'm probably an idiot 50% of the time then, I reckon.
Well, good. Well, now you've said that, and you're going to go and change it.
Yeah.
Where can people find out about you and your business, Jenny? If there's a big construction, if Clancy Dockwara are listening, go, do you know what? We need a bit of that. I don't know why they always talk like James Sinclair in my mind's eye, but where can they go to find out more info about you and what you guys do?
Yeah, so the website is www.constructionhealth.co.uk, but I'm on LinkedIn and Construction Health and Wellbeing and Jenny Armstrong. You'll be able to find me on there.
Okie dokie. Great stuff. And you've got a scorecard on there. You've got a pop-up for your newsletter. Oh, she's doing all the stuff, and she's got a podcast. She's got a photo of someone building a wall. She's got it all going on. Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much for being on the podcast, Jenny. All the best with everything moving forward.
Yeah.
Cheers, Jenny.
Take
care.
care.
See ya. Bye. There you go. Jenny Armstrong, all the way from glamorous. Which one was it? Brentwood? Basildon?
Brentwood.
One or the other.
Brentwood's the posh one.
Don't get the two mixed up, apparently, it sounds like.
No, I'm annoyed. I just get annoyed when
Oh, no.
find out that people self-admit they're doing £12 an hour tasks and they could just buy that in and very, very, very quickly put that money into income generating.
Do you know what? I think a lot of people do that because it's all well and good going, don't do a £20 an hour task, but I don't think they know what that £100 an hour task is.
She does.
Yeah, maybe.
She does. She knows that she could go and get another £1,000 an hour construction thingy-majiggy.
I like how annoyed you get with our guests.
Well, no, I think it's like that could be triple in size probably by just employing a PA straight away.
The challenge of employing...
I haven't got an office for them. No, F off.
Yeah.
I didn't have an office. I don't have great offices now. All of these things are, once I've got a building that looks like Google, I'll do it.
Yeah, if you start a sentence with, I'll do that when, slap that out of your mouth. The problem with employing someone who does blood tests, though, always a bit of a brick. Hey! Hey, come on now. You can't even tell me off going, we don't swear on this podcast, JB, because it's a double entendre. Isn't it?
Double entendre.
How'd you like them apples? What's that? Knock on the door, you say? Let's do this then. It's time for the business quiz.
It's Jim
traits.
versus JB.
Have we-
on
what's
the
that,
quiz
Chuds?
of business
8 traits.
Business knowledge.
It's time for the 8 traits of the greats. It's the point of the show where Chuds points out all of my errors and we look at the 8 traits of great entrepreneurs. Award-winning entrepreneur James Sinclair. More companies than he's got hot dinners, especially these days. Look at him, he's slender and tender. He rates the entrepreneurs on what he thinks make up the 8 traits of great entrepreneurs. To help them climb the entrepreneurial pyramid, to go from profitable job to profitable enterprise, and the peak of the pile, a profitable investment.
Yeah.
I spent this morning making a video of James Sinclair while he wasn't here with a cardboard cutout of James Sinclair. It made my day.
Okay, so number 1, starting with the end in mind.
Oh, she can't have that, can she?
Passionate about their cause,
She
yes.
can definitely have that. Shall I? I'll take this down for you, shall I?
Untold
Yeah.
amounts of resilience.
Oh, I think so. If you're a single parent and running a business, go on, she can have that all day long.
Innovate or evaporate.
Oh, she's not doing that enough. We sang a 0 or a half point. So you know
Commercial awareness. Oh.
no, can't have that either.
Relationships people, she can have
Oh, she
that.
can have that. Yeah.
The marketing was good.
The marketing is good.
And stay teachable, so yes.
She's definitely got that. That gives her a grand total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's staying alive. Oh, that's a good tagline for her, isn't it? Staying alive. Ha, 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 staying alive. 5 out of 8. It's pretty great. It's now time for this. It's time for the business quiz.
Jim versus JB on the quiz of business.
Cheers, Chuds.
Business knowledge.
And it's fun.
Which one's clever and which one's dumb? Izzy Wizzy.
Let's get quizzy. Inside this mystical envelope, there is a fact or a business statistic. Chuds, is that on the camera okay? Oh, good. Of course it is, because he's got all the lenses set up. He knows a thing or two, doesn't he? I came in here today. I said, Chuds, how do you get these cameras? He said, do you know what you need? He doesn't talk like you. He's like, your F number's too high. You need an F down as low as it can go. I don't even know what he's talking about. He's so knowledgeable. Anyway, inside this envelope, there is a statistic or a quizzical fact. Me and James Sinclair go head to head in a battle to find out who can get closest to the right answer. Today's question is, how many construction companies in the UK have gone into insolvency as of August 2024? How many construction companies in the UK have gone into insolvency as of August 2024?
I don't like the
Is
way that question's posed. Because what,
Here it
ever?
goes.
Or just in that month?
I wouldn't say it's that month. Is it of the year? Is it in
Chuds,
total?
can you...
Yeah,
Chuds,
of 2024, I would say.
of 2024. So up until August of 2024.
So for 8 months. Is that all right?
Yeah. How many do you reckon are going bust per month? And then times it by 8.
I mean, I'm going to give you some... I know that construction is having a tough time.
Yes. All businesses are having a tough time at the moment, aren't
But
they?
no,
You
but
look at
particularly construction,
Yeah,
it is very fickle, because they get these huge big contracts and if something goes wrong...
the margins are tiny, the payment terms are absolutely terrible. You end up having to cash flow it, don't you?
So is it... Chuds, can we just confirm, is it set for 8 months? Is that right?
I don't know. Let's
Can you read the answer and just give us some... Can we just give that?
I know what the answer is. I can see it. I've got it in
No,
front.
but there's some little facts, isn't there? Do you know can you just clarify
Any facts that
I don't know
clarify
in what period of time. I would say as of 2024. What happened in 2024?
what happened in 2024? So as of 2024,
August?
August.
This the August thing that's from
Yeah.
me. Oh, okay. Let's say
I think, sadly, it's going to be 8, 16, add a zero. Okay, I'm going 160,000. I think 20,000 are going bust per month. Sadly.
it's 21,000.
21,000. I'm saying 160,000. He's saying 21,000. Chuds is smirking, which means that I've won. Chuds, tell us the number.
You've got it. In
I've
front
got
of
the
you.
number, haven't I? Of course I have. Don't worry about it. I'll tell myself. The answer is, here you go, because it's used. Well, that wasn't clear enough, was it? The answer is, oh, you're bloody joking. 4,310, which is good news, really. It's annoying for my quiz, but it's good news for the...
Yeah, but you think this is just construction companies.
That's true. Representing... Oh, 4,310 businesses have gone bust in the construction sector in the 8 months of 2024.
So was it? Yeah.
Representing the highest number of insolvencies in any industry. So there you go, verifies they're having a hard time thing. It accounts for 17% of all insolvency cases, and a significant proportion of construction insolvencies are attributed to subcontractors. 17.
So nearly 1 in 5 companies going bust is
construction.
That's why banks don't like it.
Yeah.
Because they've gone, hang on a sec.
Also,
You're going to set up a construction company, you got a 20% chance of going bust.
You have to put it under a different tax code, don't you? Are you doing construction? No, it's tech. Tech with diggers. It's tech with diggers, bro.
We do need to make sure we've got our little trophies, don't we?
Oh, of course we do, yeah.
Especially
Sorry.
as I got the win there.
Same reason he cares.
I mean, yeah, if I'd have lost, I wouldn't have been bothered
Exactly.
much about it.
Thanks, Chuds. There you go. So there you go. Right, Jimbo Sinclair.
You don't want to be right about that stuff, though, do you?
No, not really. I'm glad that I was wrong. I was glad that I was so far wrong.
I knew you was right. 168,000. I think, come on, JP. You just use some basic maths.
I know, but I just,
I doubt there's even 168,000 registered
construction companies
in the UK.
Chuds, can you ChatGPT or Google how many construction companies are there registered in the UK? And if it's under 160,000, I will buy everybody lunch because I'm that much of an idiot.
If it's under what?
160,000.
Just like Chuds. Get the
It's
lunch.
159,000.
Lunch is on the idiot.
Actually, though, it's 101,000.
Oh, it is. There you go. I'll definitely owe everybody lunch and an
But
apology.
A lot of those will be registered as little one-man bandy things as well. But this will be people that are doing contracts. It will be, this... Because I think if you're just a little one-man band or, you're doing extensions and stuff, it's quite hard to go bust in that world. It's when you're an electrical contractor, you're doing a 20 million contract. And I know loads of them.
It can turn so quick as well, can't it, on people?
Things, like they've quoted a job, 11 million quid.
Yeah.
And then they don't get paid for 120 days. And then they under-spec something, but no, that's the contract. That's what it says.
You said it.
We're not paying you anymore. And then they just get into big trouble.
Yeah. I had a mate of mine he was doing a lot of solar installations. This when the feed-in tariff was massive back in 2012. 60 vans on the road, 85 people out working every single day. And then one part of that supply chain went bust and that literally the business got turned off overnight.
And one of the things that we always say on the podcast, what do we love saying? A little bit of money from a lot of people a lot of the time,
Saves a lot of heartache.
Because on the face of it, you think, God, we've got, millions of turnover.
Yeah.
If this all goes perfectly, we're going to make this much profit.
The keyword there being if.
The spreadsheet says we're going to make this.
Yeah.
But spreadsheets very, very rarely come to reality.
Absolutely. Well, if you've enjoyed today's episode of the podcast, please feel free to let us know wherever you download your podcast. You can leave us a comment on Spotify now. There's comments in there. Do you know that?
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, so leave us a comment on there. You can leave us a comment on YouTube.
Yeah, and if you've got an interesting fact or quote and you can't be bothered to send it to James Burt Official on Instagram or James Sinclair in Entrepreneur on Instagram, you can leave them in the YouTube comments. And if we find some good ones, we'll definitely read them out and put your company there so we can give your company a little shout out.
Oh, yeah. And if you leave us a rating or a review, we'll give some shout outs to them as well. There you go.
Yeah.
You give to us, we'll give back.
Over 100,000 downloads a month.
There you go. Reciprocal value there. We will see you on the next one. Cheers.
What do they call that? The law of
reciprocity.
Very difficult word to say.
Hard to say. Lovely when you're on the receiving end of it, though.
Yeah, thank you very much.
There we go. Right, we'll see you on the next episode. Ta-da.
Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.